Fanny Pack Wrestling is a proud member of Diamond Club and the Freaking Awesome Network. Check out more great content at diamondclub.tv and freakingawesomenetwork.com.
I think you broke the internet.
CD. Buenos nachos, amigos. What's up, guys?
Okay, you're back.
Yes, I'm back.
You didn't
Buenos
disappear for like the last minute and a half.
We lost you for a bit there.
It was playing. It seemed to be playing for fine. But Buenos nachos, amigos, and welcome to Fanny Pack Wrestling Podcast. Our intra technical issues aside, we're here with the 8th edition of the Fanny Pack Gaiden. Here to talk about, check in on Lucha Underground a bit. I'm Petey Rave, your man with no plan. Here with me is none other than David Jeffrey Majors, aka DJ Aim. How you doing, Deej?
I know that guy. Hi, everybody. The Good Ship Fanny Pack is off and running once more, and we are headed towards Boyle Heights, Los Angeles, by way of Austin, Texas, PD Rave. Let's talk Lucha Underground.
Mm-hmm. Here with us as a guest to talk about Lucha Underground and a couple other things is none other than Patty McSwag, a.k.a. Patrick Swagger. How you doing, Pat?
Doing all right. Thank you, bastards, for getting me back into wrestling.
Yes. Of course, we're here having just had a heady discussion about a myriad of things, including NXT and MMA and all sorts of things. We're here to talk about something a little bit more fun and a little bit more a little bit more happy for us, I think, I would assume. We're talking about Lucha Underground, aren't we, Deej?
We are the wrestling production on the El Rey network that has captured the hearts of many a wrestling fan on this side of the world looking for a fresh alternative. And recently, for the South by Southwest conference, Lucha Underground took their show on the road for the first time and put on a little soiree in Austin, Texas. And these two lucky bastards got to see it live. So we're going to talk about that on the show as well.
Mm-hmm. Talk about Austin Warfare. Patrick, I have to ask you, what were you anticipating when we were waiting to check out Austin Warfare?
I assumed my mind was going to be a little bit blown. Lucha Underground, I think, I must say it, I'm going to make a bold statement, is the best thing in wrestling right now, especially televised wrestling. It is unique and interesting and wonderful, and more so than any of the other promotions, even like, say, Chikara, which is, Pennsylvania's own, has really sucked me into wrestling to watch it on a weekly basis and pay attention to stories. So I assumed they were going to do something enjoyable, but I wasn't. I didn't know how they would handle it with, the whole keeping it within the story of what was going on versus the fact that we factually know they filmed all the stuff right now from months ago.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was interesting to kind of see it. The
double drink.
Double drink. It was fascinating to see it where they timed it during the story. They pretty much did time it within the episodes aired, so kind of keep it to that. So I presume they must be signed an NDA when they attend the little temple, or something like that, for there not to be much as far as spoilers. I mean, of course, if you look at the Wikipedia, you know who the champion is at the end of the season, but
Well, why would you do that to yourself?
I know.
You idiot.
Yeah.
Enjoy Lucha Underground.
Yes.
What's wrong with you? Miserable bastard.
So it was a show.
Please don't ruin it for me. I've managed to avoid that particular spoiler.
At the end, it's a human tornado who wins the title, and he keeps it, making a grand triumphant comeback from his Wrestling Society X days. Sorry to do that. But yeah, Austin Warfare. We can start with that, and then we can circle back to actually talk about Lucha Underground so far after that. But Austin Warfare was started off exciting. We got into the Austin Music Hall, and we got the sense that they kind of brought at least a little bit of the temple to the Austin Music Hall. We saw
now, PD, I just want to ask, since this was in Austin, when you made your way in, I know you said it felt a little bit like the temple, but was there a sense of vape in the air as well?
I didn't smell it. I think, you know what, there is I gotta give Austin credit. There is an overall indoor smoking ban throughout the whole city, so no smoking is allowed, including e-cigarettes. So that's one of the positives of Austin, Texas, which is the fact that nobody is allowed to smoke inside. But yeah, the environment was interesting, to say the least. Drink again. Yeah, we're getting weird lag. The struggle is real. But yeah, it started off with a 4-man match. It started off with a friggin' four corners lucha. Kind of a good old traditional four corners lucha. And I think this is the match that contains...
Did they have Melissa Santos as the ring announcer?
Yes.
Right.
She even... before she actually even came out to the outside and said hi, and started Snapchatting with the fans that were waiting outside. And I think that they heard
and shooting promos because they were filming the whole event because of reasons, which I assume will someday become clear.
Yeah, for reasons. I haven't even seen her on the main show yet, but yeah. Also, there was a moment where Katrina came out to greet the audience and accidentally locked herself out of the venue and tried to get back in.
Why couldn't she just teleport back in on her own?
I don't know. It was something of like, I think because she couldn't turn out the lights outside.
It was a lighting issue.
Yeah. Yeah. She teleports through the darkness. That's her thing.
I see.
The lights go out. She moves. So unfortunately, it was nice and bright in the Austin afternoon day. But yeah, the Four Corners match, which I think has gotten the most. We've had the moment that gotten the most like news and buzz outside of from people outside of observing outside from Austin Warfare, specifically for one spot by one particular aero space traveling luchador. Yeah, it was Aerostar. It was Aerostar, Drago, Son of Havoc, and I believe Pentagon Jr., which is Cero Miedo himself, in a 4-way lucha to one fall. Swagger, how was this as the first match?
I mean, holy shit! I mean, like you could have started the holy shit chants when they announced the lineup. I mean, every single person in the ring is someone I enjoy on their own level. Even can we just talk about how right now is there a more over heel than Pentagon Jr.? Because he's kind of a heel. Like he's kind of a bad guy. He breaks everyone's arm.
Bad guy. He is.
But people fucking love that guy.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know if I love him, but he is so much fun to watch.
You could say he is the Stone Cold Steve Austin of Lucha Underground.
Yeah.
He very much fills that role. Aerostar has been in the game for a minute and is quality at what he does. I really, really like Son of Havoc / totally not actually just Matt Cross in Half a Mask. And Drago is
my favorite.
Everything I love about Lucha Underground, and that Drago is a fucking dragon. Yeah. He isn't a guy kind of like a dragon. Drago is a fucking dragon. And that's what makes Lucha Underground
absolutely my favorite.
He's a fucking dragon, and that's what makes Lucha Underground beautiful.
Yes, he is fantastic. He goes ahead. I'm glad he's around because it adds more existing wrestlers for me to add to my dream battle royale match to have at the Dragon Con wrestling event, where I want the Dragon Con Dragon Bolt Battle Royale, which is all the dragons of wrestling in one single.
Like,
although there will be one less
and Drago.
There will be one less dragon now, unfortunately.
Oh, no. Are we gonna get emo about that right now?
Just saying. We're moving on.
Maybe he can be the special guest referee.
We're moving on.
As the person who fully understands
moving on.
Dragons.
Yes. But yes. This one had the biggest spot. I think the most buzzed about spot in the entire night was in this opening match. Did you hear about like all the buzz around Aerostar's I guess now infamous balcony dive?
I will say that I did not hear much about it until I heard that someone was seriously injured.
Yeah.
That was the only time I heard anything.
Yeah.
So I'm coming into this entire show relatively blind.
Yeah. I will say I can tell you for certain what happened, because part of what happened to Aerostar happened right in front of us. Like literally
Aerostar got tossed off the top rope through a table awkwardly. A lot of blood was on the ground, and there wasn't cut fluids. Blood. It was blood.
Yeah.
You know,
it was.
Oh no.
So there was a lot of blood. Okay, that was 3 minutes into the match, and we all thought Aerostar was dead
or something.
You know, he came down very awkwardly. Like it was in certain wrestling promotions, you might hear a "you fucked up" chant. Like it was not the most graceful fall through a table anyone's ever had.
Yeah, and there were definitely we couldn't tell if it was blood just from looking at it, but there were definitely fluids that emanated from one Aerostar on the mat after they kind of.
That's why Aerostar goes to the Deadpool school of outfits, and he wears red so his enemies can't see him bleed. But there was definitely a dark ooze on the black mat surrounding the ring that they were very, very attentive to clean up with something that smelled suspiciously like bleach.
Yeah.
So how did the rest of the match go?
And then the rest of the match just went fine. They all kind of, it was a fantastic
when you have that kind of talent in the ring, you have a good time.
Yeah, it was.
It was everyone, like a good 4-way match. Everyone got some moments to shine. You know, Drago's fucking Drago.
Yeah.
And he dragging some motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Son of Havoc is quietly one of my favorite guys wrestling right now. He is deceptively agile. Like he doesn't look like a dude who would be like doing like crazy bounce off the ropes fucking flips, but he does them with like kind of an impressive amount of ease. And again, like I said, Pentagon Jr. is the most over heel in the game, and it's in part because he's really compelling in the fucking ring. Like, you know, say what you will about him, but he plays his part really well.
Yeah. And then they all really kind of worked well with each other. They all kind of had their moments. It was a nice flow. Aerostar popped up again. I
wouldn't say he popped up as much as fell from the heavens.
Yes.
in a holy shit, like the holy shit chant then happened.
Yes.
When Aerostar leaped off the balcony. And this wasn't balcony to the ring where it's like, yay, feet of change. This was balcony to the floor where it's gotta be 20 feet.
And it was impressive. But I have to say, like, it looking at it, I didn't notice that he was even there. I think it was just our angle.
Well, so he leapt from the balcony above us.
Yeah.
And he left on a stretcher bleeding profusely. He didn't just leave on a stretcher. He left on a stretcher bleeding profusely.
I will say, I think, honestly, I don't think this jump really did much different. He was preemptively broken from the table mess. Yeah, and I think and the closing spot was a pile driver suplex combo by Pentagon Jr. on Drago and Aerostar, which is what leads me to believe why Aerostar bothered to come back. Because, like, fuck, I gotta get back for the ending spot. It's like, stay back here for a bit, then go back out there. Which was always like.
But the match did finish.
Yes.
And by all accounts, it was a pretty good spectacle to see.
It was, again, minor injuries. It turned out to be not too bad for Aerostar. I mean, the man.
We have a small aside that the house band was fantastic.
Oh yes,
whoever the house band was.
Oh my god,
it was not. I don't think it was the same house band that they have on TV, or at least not the one on this week's episode. The house band was terrific.
Oh my god, they were fantastic. So the house band, I forget what their name, but the house band did a fantastic job of like being a mix of like. Being a mix of like rock and roll and traditional like Mexican, well, not traditional, more like modern Mexican dance music, modern Mexican dance like
there was what I would call a mariachi flair to what they did, but they weren't strictly a mariachi band.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Like, it was so super fun. It was so danceable. Like, I wish I knew the name. Let me see.
For those out there at home, Lucha Underground, part of their presentation on El Rey Network is that inside of the temple at Boyle Heights in Los Angeles, they will have a band playing during their television tapings. A lot of things that happen with pre-taped televised wrestling is that they'll do taping to taping to taping in succession. And for a lot of fans, it's kind of hard to keep them around, keep them interested, keep them energetic. And one thing that the El Rey Network put down, and Dario Cueto put some of his own cash down for, is to have a band playing inside of the temple in Boyle Heights while things are in preparation. PD Rave, did you figure that out?
Yeah, it was fantastic. I'm trying to, well, no, I haven't figured it out. I'm like trying to find it.
I did as much vamping as I could, PD.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to find out later on, and maybe update people. But it was hard to find out. But yeah, they were fantastic. It was fantastically fun and added to the whole atmosphere. And they did their style covers of like pop songs that were fun, and they had fun little like interactions with Melissa Santos. Because she would get in the ring to get ready to announce the next match. But then they were still playing, so she'd dance a little, and then like they'd like jokingly gesture back and forth with like the band and her, and it was fun.
Now the rest of the show.
Yes, the rest of the show. There were only a couple. There weren't too many matches, but they were still good. There were a nice couple matches. The next segment was Vampiro. Kind of had a little like, "Hey guys, you're awesome, brother. This is fucking awesome. I'm gonna cut a promo, brother." And then like he takes and then they furthered the doctor that shows up in the beginning of the season showed up that night to discourage him from participating in the South by South revelry and alcohol and debauchery, and then he beats up a bunch of plants dressed as orderlies. So yeah, that was that. And then he beats up the doctor.
Respect for the TV continuity.
Choke slams were thrown out. But here's the thing, they made everything fit into the story and then even bothered to add to the story. Plus, as much as I was not super into Vampiro the wrestler, I love Vampiro the commentator in Lucha Underground and the character he plays in that universe, because it totally works. And his character has depth and complication and really adds to the allure of Lucha Underground.
Yeah. And then kind of the transition to Katrina. He says that complains. We had a moment with Katrina, Vampiro, and setting up the Fenix Mil Muertes match. So Fenix and Mil Muertes were to have a match. Katrina kind of set it up saying that Fenix had to win this match in order to get his title shot the next day on the episode that was going to air. Kind of like, house band stuff, house band promo stuff. I mean, not house show promo stuff. Kind of have it fit in with the story, but not have any actual consequences. But it still set up a really cool Fenix Mil Muertes match. I guess you would say so, Patrick. It was a pretty good match.
Yeah, Fenix is. I kind of like that they're trying to make him into the guy. I think they want Fenix to pick up where Prince Puma left off as kind of being the very likable, overcoming adversity face of the promotion. And Mil Muertes is a good villain because Mil Muertes is the evil hand of Katrina, who took away our beloved Dario Cueto, who's spoiler alert back now.
He's also the walking personification of death.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, he's the walking personification of death.
And it was Phoenix is the walking personification of rebirth.
Yeah.
I love that they keep mentioning the man of 1,000 lives. It's it's a little obvious and a little on the nose, but it works well. The 1,000 lives, 1,000 deaths. Yeah.
I mean, as someone who understands, just enough how the sauce is made, you know what the outcome's going to be, but you still want to see it get there because again, the thing about Mil Muertes, especially in the context of being in a promotion with guys who are mostly, luchadors by the WWE definition, and by that I mean 5'5" and tiny and incredibly athletic. Mil Muertes is a massive motherfucker.
Yeah.
He's a big dude. And I am a fan of the quality big man versus little man fight because it you get to kind of see what makes wrestling great, because in a real straight fight, the big guy's probably going to smash the little guy. But in professional wrestling, the little guy has the top rope. The little guy has the ability to fly. And you get a little bit of that here.
Yeah. And then it worked really well and kind of set it up and got people hyped for going home and watching tomorrow night's episode, or the following night.
And again, selling Fenix as the face guy, as the guy.
Yeah. And then that transitioned to the next match, which was Ivelisse and Taya. Ivelisse was fun. It was fun to see her live. She was.
Can I just say
the bandana?
Just say, Taya, man, Taya.
Where are you? What's your stance on Taya? I'm curious.
Yes.
See, I'm very much the opposite.
Oh yes.
I'm not. I guess
DJM likes himself some Taya.
My best compliment to Taya is that I don't like her, but it's not because of her wrestling ability.
Yeah,
which I think is a compliment in every sense of the word.
Everything about Taya. She gets 2 thumbs up from.
But
She's
on the
a
opposite
10
side of that, I fucking love Ivelisse, especially Lucha Underground universe Ivelisse, who's one of those people who's not necessarily good, but not necessarily bad, but a total badass in the ring to watch. And like
Petey,
yeah,
I'll say this to you, and you'll understand this, and maybe some of the listeners out there will understand this. Taya, though, that's what I have to say. Taya, though.
I will say, being there live, I know that it's because they have their own music. There's a part of me that knew it was going to be the case, but is disappointed I didn't hear Whack a Flock of Flames, Load 'em Gun sounds when Ivelisse came out. Because at this point, I'm like, that's one of the best things about her in the indies is the fact that she uses that song. I'm like, Load 'em gun sounds, load 'em gun sounds. Oh, it's just fantastic. But
this is Lucha Underground. It's its own thing.
Yes, its own thing. She did rock the war bandana over her face as she came out to the ring, like a true thug for real.
And again, I adore Ivelisse. I think she is everything wonderful with Lucha Underground can be summed up with the notion of her and her holding a belt and her challenging the biggest, baddest motherfucker in the company to his belt at one point previously this season. Like, she's awesome. And yeah, I'm a fan.
Yeah.
Also incredibly tiny as a human being, because she walked like a foot away from me on the way out. And I'm like, hi, you're awesome. You had a great match. And then in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, you're like 5'1".
It's like,
you don't look. You look
listed at like
you look
5'4", but like,
oh my God, she's like miniature sized and could still kick the shit out of me.
Yeah.
She's a badass, and I feel about Ivelisse the way DJM feels about Taya, if you catch my drift.
I hear you, Swaggy.
I respect you, but I disagree.
Yes,
you are entitled to your opinion.
I respect you, Swaggy P. I hear you.
Oh, Pedro. His first name is Patrick.
Yeah.
His nickname is the Swagger. That never occurred to me until now.
Oh God. Do I have to cut a rap record now?
No, it's just it would have been even
Let's just
better.
Move on. Let's move on, Petey.
Just know
Let's
that
move on to the main.
Drew would have absolutely loved that as well. Me throwing out the Swaggy P. But yeah. But moving on, and then the main event. Which was pretty fun and fantastic. It was a fun main event. It was Cage, Prince Puma, and Rey Mysterio taking on Johnny Mundo, PJ Black, the Darewolf, and Jack Evans. We started with Johnny Mundo, PJ Black, and Jack Evans doing a promo in the ring.
I feel like you're underselling this. This was the first in-ring appearance, other than the people in Los Angeles who watched it get taped, of Rey Mysterio.
Yes.
At this point in story, Rey Mysterio had only been training as Tekka Jr. guy. That's all we've seen of him.
And acting poorly.
Yeah, and acting poorly.
We'll talk about that in a moment.
But he gets in the ring and he's with Prince Puma, who's my boy, and Cage, who I don't understand how Cage went face, except that Johnny Mundo's so fucking heel that he can make anyone face.
Yes.
I'm Johnny Mundo. My abs are better than you. My abs are in better shape than you've ever been in your entire life.
Yes.
Look at my abs.
Yes.
I love Johnny Mundo.
I do too. He's
wonderful.
Johnny Mundo's
I've
top
always
5
loved
heels in the game. Top 5
I've
heels
always
in the game.
loved him.
Yes.
He's fantastic. I want to talk about fucking Jack Evans on the mic doing slam poetry to open the match.
He had a nice lengthy
He didn't just do like
slam poem.
Do like a couple of stanzas. He did like a fucking diss track worth of slam poetry at the beginning of the match.
Sonnet. I think he managed to fit a full sonnet in there.
And can I just say, this was my first exposure to Jack Evans. Just because,
really?
Yes, because he hasn't really been in the ring much this season of Lucha Underground. Like he's only now really showing up.
And he's mainly been in AAA more than anything.
Yeah. Holy fucking shit, that guy's got some mic skills and some very solid ring skills to back them up.
Oh, dude, Jack Evans is
on my...
For like, how long is
if you're a fan of Prince Puma, you should thank Jack Evans. Jack Evans is the OG of high flying, and he will be respected as such.
Yes.
Yes, and also, good God, him on the mic. Him on the mic. He's been wrestling. Can they just give him the mic forever? When Jack Evans gets to a point in 10 or 15 years where he's got to hang up the boots, if someone does not hire that motherfucker to do commentary, they are losing out because he could be great at it. He could be he could be the next Jerry the King Lawler and even better. God, like Jack the crazy says anything is the guy who adds the magic to wrestling commentary. He could be that and better because he is
funny. Jack Evans was
deeply talented with a microphone.
Is one of the guys that was in the original Wrestling Society X in Lucha Underground. Like he's right up there along with like,
and he's one of the OGs of Ring of Honor too.
Yeah, like he's been around forever.
Jack Evans is an OG.
He doesn't look that old for a guy who's been around forever.
He's not, but he's one of the OGs of the modern era of the indies.
Yeah.
And to see him having this resurgence in Lucha Underground, it fills my heart with all kinds of joy.
I think he has a lot of upside in the long term of Lucha Underground because of his ability to talk. And he's great in the ring. Like, here's the thing about Lucha Underground. I don't know if there's anyone in there that's not good in the ring.
Some would argue.
Wow, Petey, I'm about to blow your mind right now. Jack Evans is 34.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's got a couple of good years left.
I believe he's the same age as, and now that he's retired, I can use this name again. I believe he's the same age as American Dragon because I'm pretty sure they started around the same time. So yeah, Jack has plenty of years left. He's got plenty of time. Jack's not going anywhere for a while.
September of 2000.
He could be a huge face or a huge heel in Lucha Underground. Like he could be a.
He began
wrestling
in the Mat Rats promotion, which was set up by Eric Bischoff, which I swear to you, I initially read as Mall Rats, which got me a little excited that at one time there was a promotion called Mall Rats, but obviously it's Mall Rats.
Strangely enough, Brody Lee, the current Luke Harper, was never in that promotion. But enough about that. Tell me about the match, guys.
So we get Johnny Mundo, Jack Evans, and PJ Black. So you've got
fun trio.
You've got essentially, and I'm gonna use the comparison, and I mean this as a compliment. Basically, the Bullet Club of Lucha Underground, like the white guys who play super heel to the Luchadors versus Cage, who is somehow a face now, and I don't understand that. Prince Puma, who's the best guy in the company. And Rey fucking Mysterio. Okay, like I got to watch Rey Mysterio wrestle. That was pretty rad. Yeah. And you know what? For a guy who's been in the game as long as he has, he's still mostly got it. Like, he doesn't have the gas in the tank he had a couple of years ago, but he's still got it.
Probably doesn't have his original knees.
But leaving WWE, he got rid of all of that Vince McMahon mandated muscle mass, so he's able to move around a little quicker.
He's still a very in shape motherfucker.
He's starting to look like the young Rey Mysterio Jr. that the world fell in love with, which is awesome.
And he is still great to watch. Like, again, in this context with having two younger guys be his support and be able to take, their thirds of the match, it helps. And I think the notion of him in Lucha Underground is to be the older, wiser, yet still can go kind of guy. and in that role, I think he will be great. This match was better than a lot of things because it was like this whole Cage Johnny Mundo thing that they've been building for so long, really coming to a head. And the fact that like Prince Puma is, you know, I'm going to be really sad the day he signs with WWE.
Yeah.
I'm going to be really sad because it's going to happen and I know it. And Rey Mysterio, who still got it. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
And
it was
Cage
a lot
could
of
do a
cool moves.
619. Did you think a guy like Brian Cage could do a 619?
Yes.
He kind of can. It's all right.
Yes.
'Cause
He could also do a
those of
shooting
us-
star press.
Those of us that regularly watch Pro Wrestling Guerrilla know that it started with Excalibur saying Brian Cage is a fucking machine.
Yes.
That is not hyperbole.
No,
Brian Cage is an anomaly. He is.
And here's the thing.
Wagger, I will say this. Brian Cage is indie Brock Lesnar. That's the way to describe it.
And I was going to say this. I don't know how he's made it this far without a WWE contract because he looks like someone McMahon would want to get on his knees and blow the shit out of because he is a fucking freak.
Here's
in the best
thing.
way.
He had a developmental deal, got bumped because of the wellness policy.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, he's a better, big, strong freak of a guy. Basically, everyone who plays that character in WWE, short of Big Show, and only because he's been in it so long, it's kind of amusing.
The comparison I make is Brock. That's the comparison.
Yeah. And probably came by his muscle mass just as honestly as Brock Lesnar. And yet he is not on Monday night every night. But again, Lucha Underground's a better program. The nature
also,
of it.
he works full time for AAA in Mexico, so he's
good for him. I hope he like. I don't even like him as a character, but I like him in like weird ways that I can't describe because he has a foil like Johnny Mundo. Because
so you've never seen much of Brian Cage in PWG, have you?
I think I've seen one match with him.
Okay.
Oh God, one of the matches
Swagger?
to see.
Swagger?
I actively dislike
say
Brock
this.
Lesnar athletic freak character. I just don't like it. It's boring. It's not.
Here's the thing about Brian
For whatever
Cage.
reason,
No.
all right.
See, here's the thing about Brian Cage. I just mentioned he regularly goes to PWG, right? That means he can keep up with everybody in PWG. So take that and add on to the fact that he is just this athletic freak of nature and the fact that he can do all of the things that everybody else in PWG can do. That's Brian Cage.
Yeah.
That's
Brian Cage. I think a match to see with him is his match with the current Apollo Crews, back then known as Uhaa Nation. Brian Cage, Uhaa Nation.
I could see that being an incredible match because Apollo Crews is very talented. He's kind of a freak athlete. He's a kind of a freak athlete guy like that.
They are parallel. You could say they're parallel.
And
that's Brian Cage.
Like what is the timeline in everyone's mind for when Prince Puma, aka Ricochet, aka whatever they call him, is in NXT? Because it's got to be basically as soon as he's contractually allowed. Because I'm not sure there's anyone of that. Like he's relatively young.
He wrapped on season 2, so
what I heard the rumor is he is contractually obligated to be officially a Lucha Underground member until season 3 airs, which is spring, I'm guessing. But after that, he's free to go because they filmed season 3, I think, if not completely, for the most part.
Yeah,
I want more than almost anyone in wrestling right now deserves a fucking payday because he is unfucking believable to watch.
Yeah,
I feel like PD did Ricochet and Brian Cage ever do anything in PWG? I feel like that should have happened.
I imagine they have. Like, we'd have to look it up.
Was pitched. The match was pitched as Cage. Like, I don't even like this guy, but I fucking respect him. Which, in the character of Cage in Lucha Underground, makes sense. Like, you don't necessarily like Prince Puma, but you deeply respect him because he's the heart and soul of the company right now. He is, in many ways, the guy.
Yeah, he is.
Which is why they're trying to, I think, position Fenix to be the guy. And
for season
again,
2 of Lucha Underground, hashtag
yeah.
segue.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hashtag.
For season 2 of Lucha Underground. So Lucha Underground season 2 so far, we've gotten through to Aztec Warfare, which is I thought was a good kind of point to like say, hey, let's check in on it. Let's see how it's going so far this season. We're good kind of starting point. There's also been an episode after that, but I've watched up to Aztec Warfare. I don't know if anybody else is going to.
I saw the episode after Aztec Warfare. But I will save the things about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So,
but I watched that yesterday, I think.
So I think what were our expectations? What were we expecting from Lucha Underground this season? Kind of what was? I'll gotta start with you, Patrick. What were your expectations? I think, like as season 2 was about to premiere.
So I watched a little bit of the beginning of season 1, and then the tail end of season 1 got me, especially the final episode of season 1, which was like it wasn't, what did they call it? I forget what they called it. But like the
Ultima
tail end,
Lucha?
Yeah,
Ultima Lucha. Yeah. That to me was one of the best wrestling shows I watched all of last year. Basically short of only New Japan and their dome show for the year. Like they once you get sucked into Lucha Underground and start to wrap your head around what it is, as opposed to I think every other wrestling promotion right now, especially the televised ones, it is intended to, it's packaged in such a way that it's super story driven. There are what I would call cut scenes of varying quality, because not all wrestlers are great actors, but they add to this, like, I don't want to call it realism, but it's realism. Like they take the story very seriously.
It's immersion.
Drago's a fucking dragon. Arrow stars from fucking space.
PD, let him get this out. This is clearly something he needs to get out.
Prince Puma fucking growls because he's part Puma or something.
Yes.
Like what it does is it creates this universe in a way that no other wrestling promotion I think has tried recently. Like really creates this self-contained universe. It takes kind of the comic book comparison of wrestling to its logical conclusion. So I got sucked in, and this season has been terrific. They've brought in new guys, new people to add to the story and expand upon it. Joey Ryan getting probably a medium-sized payday because he's Joey Ryan,
the king of dong style.
The king of dong style. And even Chavo Guerrero Jr.'s in here, and you kind of are okay with it because it makes sense.
Well, Chavo,
Chavo
is an executive producer. He's
Chavo as like this fucking gigantic dickhead constantly, which makes sense. If this was like early TNA where Jeff Jarrett was carrying the belt around everywhere, it would be stupid and forced and annoying. Like TNA like 10 years ago when Jeff Jarrett was carrying the belt was. No.
Let him go, Petey. He's got a lot to get out of his system.
Chavo's just a fucking asshole. And he makes sense as a fucking asshole. And he's got a foil this season, especially in El Tejano Jr., who I am now introduced to who seems like an okay wrestler who doesn't like Chavo Guerrero Jr. in the ring.
Tejano was the AAA Mega Champion for quite a while until Alberto Del Rio returned to Mexico. So they had a pretty good feud that actually crossed over into Lucha Underground for a little bit in season 1. And I got to say, PD, I don't know how you feel about this. Seeing Tejano as a Technico, sort of, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it's weird.
I'm still not totally adjusted to the idea of Tejano being a Technico. Are you?
Yeah, it's also being the proud Mexican if you are familiar with anything in AAA, his name is Tejano.
That's not who he is.
He's the Texan. That's
not who he is at all.
He embodies the bastardization of Mexican culture into Tex-Mex. Like he is
isn't he supposed to be almost a gringo, right?
Yeah, he's supposed to be Tex-Mex personified.
And he's never been
like Eddie Guerrero back in the day.
Yeah, and he's never been a Technico. It's so weird.
Oh. And that being said, we can expound on maybe some of the disappointments, but that one, I could have lived without. There was some things that could have been cut out for the sake of cohesion and keeping things simple. And I think Chavo is he's done his work to the business, but
but that what Chavo is adding to the Lucha Underground universe.
Let him get this out, Petey.
Is history it doesn't
has a
have.
lot to get out.
Chavo Guerrero Jr. is one of the links to the long-standing tradition of lucha libre and the Mexican wrestler, even though he's from Texas. Like it is the tying, like the links between AAA is not just purely where they're getting a big portion of their talent. It is taking a lot of the concepts inherent in lucha libre wrestling as opposed to the American wrestling of like the importance of the mask. How many, like everyone in WWE who ever wore a mask got that shit ripped off. Everyone who was in it for more than 5 minutes.
I think WCW.
Pretty much all of them. All of them. In between both. Got their masks ripped off.
Let Swagger go, Petey. Mm-hmm. Let him go.
All of them got their masks ripped off. In Lucha Underground, they rip the mask, but they don't rip it off. It is the sin is done. You have ripped the opponent's mask. You have disgraced him. But you have not like full on revealed fucking Rey Mysterio or Kane's creepy ass face. You don't do that. Because then you fucking ruin everything and you ruin the point of the fucking mask in the first place. It works on a level that I don't think anyone else is willing to try. It's sort of being this self-contained universe. Like everything is quote unquote real. And like in a way it makes it even more engaging than say WWE, where some of the stuff they're doing right now is fantastic, but some of it is so fucking stupid it ruins the rest of it. And I don't feel like there's anything that fucking stupid going on in Lucha Underground right now.
Yeah, we can talk about kind of some of the highlights. This season there was a big shift in the paradigm. There was a big paradigm shift. A pivot, if you will, if you want to use Austin buzzwords. Everything was billed as being darker, a darker temple, because we had Mil Muertes and Katrina reigning supreme. Mil Muertes literally having a throne on which he sat looming over all of the temple. While Katrina took over Dario Cueto's office.
It was like Shao Kahn and Sindel in Mortal Kombat.
Mm-hmm. And I love it. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
One thing that I love is the fact that people always say, it's pro wrestling. It's not supposed to be like a video game. One thing I love about Lucha Underground is that it fully embraces the fact that it can be something that is not completely based in reality. And Mil Muertes sitting on the throne like Shao Kahn in Mortal Kombat, with Katrina being the mistress of the damned, as it were.
But Katrina
shut up, Swagger! I'm not done. And Katrina being the mistress of the damned, it really adds to the mystique and the aura of kind of a more darker season of Lucha Underground, which is what Matt Stryker was talking about in the very first episode when he picked up Vampiro, when he said the temple is a much darker place.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool. It was like so one of the cool things that they had at the Lucha Underground was they were handing out these free comic books, these little like promotional comic books.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a rad little comic book, kind of like a prequel little story, and nothing major.
I have seen snippets of that online. I have, yes.
And they kind of set up a really cool kind of feel, specifically in how Mil Muertes got that crown, which is the Disciples of Death. The at the time of this, I think, season opening, trios champions, actually going out and going on actual literal killing spree and claiming the skulls of their victims and propping them up on this altar throne and creating the throne for Mil Muertes.
The show is absurd. It is wonderfully insane. I described Lucha Underground season 1 once as it was Tekken in a pro wrestling concept. Now it is becoming, in season 2, a bit more supernatural, and now it's becoming a bit more like Mortal Kombat, and you're seeing all of these stories being told about the Aztec tribes and how Dario Cueto fits into all of this. It's all really, really fascinating stuff.
Yes. So let's talk about some of the highlights for season 2, and Patrick, what will be some of the highlights for you from season 2?
Like I said, I love Ivelisse, and I love the Ivelisse, Son of Havoc, and Angelico trio, and seeing their sort of the tail end of season 1 where they hated each other, and then all of a sudden they really like each other, and maybe because they just want to win, and seeing them gel into a really great trio, and Angelico jumping off of all the highest things.
Yes.
Because that's kind of what he does. That's been a highlight for me kind of the whole way through, and watching them and their sort of they've more than once, especially with Katrina at the helm, had the fucking shit end of the stick thrown at them and showed the fuck up. And I like that. Again, it's a very real world that's created. Spoiler alert, the return of Dario Cueto. Dario Cueto, who kind of was the Vince McMahon-esque heel the first season, because he's the guy who runs it and he makes the decisions, and not all of those decisions you like, so you don't necessarily like him. The pop he got when he came back, and the fact that they made a story with which a guy who you didn't like's return was something you liked. Like, that is the beauty of Lucha Underground.
There is something really special about the character Dario Cueto. Mm-hmm. He is supposed to be the evil authority figure, a trope that has been done more than 1,000 deaths in pro wrestling. However, Dario brings a certain charm to it.
Yes, he's a charming motherfucker.
He's not a megalomaniacal madman out for world domination. He is simply a man with a business who loves violence. And his goal is to make sure his promotion is the most violent place on earth.
Yes.
And you've got to respect that. He's loving this just as much as we are.
Yeah.
So he's making sure violent things happen. That's why people love El Jefe, along with him just being stupidly charming.
Yes, stupidly hilariously charming. Yeah, there was plenty of things to like about this season. Kind of how setting up Fenix's kind of rise, coming in, Gift of the Gods champion, putting obstacle after obstacle in front of him, and seeing him rise to become Lucha Underground champion. That was a pretty cool kind of moment and thread throughout the season. There was a lot of interesting montages. Famous B was the highlight for me. His promos,
and Brenda.
And Brenda. If I was a 423 get fame. 423 get fame.
I actually called the number once, but I only got a ring. It didn't go anywhere, unfortunately.
Oh, that's a bummer. Deej, what would be some of the highlights for you?
Let's see. One would be the rise of Fenix, as it were. Fenix becoming the Gift of the Gods champion and becoming Lucha Underground champion for a night was really something, because I always loved the story of the guy that starts from the bottom, as it were, and rises to the championship in pro wrestling. To me, that is the best story in the world. And of course, Fenix rising from the ashes and his ongoing story with Mil Muertes and Katrina playing into things. Secondly, the character of Katrina, her as the authority figure during this season of Lucha Underground was really, really cool. It was really unlike anybody else. She was manipulative and evil and mysterious and dark and supernatural. And that was something that you've never really seen in that position in a wrestling show before. It would almost be like if old school Paul Bearer had somehow become the authority figure for Monday Night Raw, and it'd be like, wow, this is kind of interesting and I dig it. So also Katrina. Lastly, Brian Cage.
Yes.
He's really coming into his own just as a monster, and the dude is just, he's so good. He's so good. And lastly, as I said earlier, Petey, Taya though. Taya though.
Taya.
Yeah.
She's intriguing.
Yeah.
Taya, she's intriguing.
Yes, she is.
She's got a lot going on for her. There was a lot of fun. I'd say.
How about you, Petey?
Like I said, a lot of those same things. I dug some of the things with. There was some intriguing things with how they were using Inquerno. There was a lot of interesting, a lot of great some great multi-man matches. I think the big highlights for me is how well they a varying quality in and of themselves, but how they integrated kind of the story arcs and storylines behind this, kind of the cutscenes. This year it continues that. Like it's always been the thing, it's the thing that you almost kind of take for granted, but that production value and the way they tell the storytelling is just at least especially visually is just fantastic. Johnny Mundo's heel run this year is pretty fun. He hasn't been given a lot to do, but his moments have been pretty fun. But a lot of the same things. Fenix, his rise, becoming Lucha Underground champion, and the appearance of Matanza was something that was absolutely intriguing and I think landed really well. Dario Cueto returning, but the appearance of Matanza, I think it's a thing where, like, the monster heel could it could go a lot of ways. Especially it could go a lot of ways and not all of them good, but I think it pulled it off well.
I think it's so usually when a wrestling promotion brings in a guy who basically just destroys everyone. I mean, his introduction was beating 8 guys in Aztec Warfare. Like he just destroyed 8 dudes in a row without fucking trying. And yet it's almost believable because, again, the world of Lucha Underground, there's that sort of vague supernatural element that comes in, and it works because, again, he's a big dude, but he's also very, very athletic and kind of carries himself in a manner as that character that makes sense that he would beat pretty much everyone who showed up.
Yes.
Basically, Swagger, I will tell you, Matanza Cueto is not totally different from how Brian Cage is in PWG. It's not completely far off.
Yeah. And it was intriguing to say the least, and I think it was pulled off well. All right, let's talk about the flip side. Disappointments. I kind of like the less fun parts, the disappointments. Patrick, any disappointments? Any parts where you kind of thought didn't hit well enough? Some opportunities.
On our particular show, I would have liked to see more matches, but I understand it was a relatively late plan, and it's the first time they've been outside of LA. So I assume they wanted to make a tight show with whoever they could have there. And just what I know will be the wait till next season. Like, we're going to get to the end of this season. It'll be summer, and it'll be 6 months before we see season 3. And I understand from a production perspective, because of the nature of Lucha Underground and how it's made, why that happens. But I still really, really, really wish we got more of it.
Dude, what would be some of the kind of disappointments for you this season so far, or at least some of the things you hope they iron out?
I am hoping that there are a few more female competitors, with Taya and eventually Mariposa. They seem to be going in that direction, but I feel like Sexy Star as the baby face, as it were. I feel like she needs one person on her side, because right now it kind of feels like Sexy Star versus the world as far as the ladies of Lucha Underground go. Secondly, I'm really hoping that they do a little bit more with the Mac, aka Willie Mack, who's too talented and too charismatic to just kind of be in the mid card. So I'm hoping that there is more with him as well.
Yeah.
I agree with you on all things Willie Mack. That guy he's super likable and good enough in the ring that he really, I think, deserves a run at something. Even if he doesn't get all the way to the fucking promised land, he deserves a run there, because he's super likable and he's great in the ring because he's that huge guy who can also fucking jump around and do shit.
PD, the comparison I've always made with Willie Mack. He is young Samoa Joe. That's who he is.
Yeah, he's very much that, and he's fantastic at that. I think the lack of female characters and the very inconsistent way they pretend to be equal opportunity. Where it's like they talk about the it's like, oh, everybody can fight anybody, and then the couple of times they have the big dude beating on the little defenseless woman thing, where it's like there's some opportunities there. And I think another big opportunity is, I said it on Twitter, and I will say it again. Whose idea was it to let Ricky Banderas talk? Because specifically I say that because I understand if you have to have Mil Muertes talk, but it didn't have to be Ricky Banderas talking. Because
I agree
growls.
with you on all of those.
Puma growls.
The only thing that I won't agree with you on, PD, is this. And I'm sorry, bro. I know you're a big fan of Kimberly, but Mil Muertes ain't losing to Ivelisse.
Oh no, I just didn't think that match was. That match didn't need to really happen. It's just Ivelisse can just wrestle the luchadors and do all the other things, but we just could have just stayed away from that match.
Here's the thing. So from an Ivelisse fan standpoint, it builds her as being 100% fearless and being willing to go against the biggest, baddest motherfucker, even if she might get destroyed in the process. It's not 100% like she just got her ass kicked, because she did get a couple of spots in there. Like it was, I understand like what they're trying to show is Mil Muertes is ruthless and will try to destroy anyone who gets in the ring, but also that Ivelisse is not going to back down from anyone, and that is, I think, what. And again, and Taya versus Brian Cage, which happened, like the notion that the girls don't back down from, but the girls don't back down from the guys, and that in the words of Mike Quackenbush, equal rights and equal fights, and I think Lucha Underground is doing some of that, and I think I'm not saying they got to put a belt on a girl. I understand why it happened in Chikara. But the belt on a girl. Like I'm not saying that has to happen, but the notion that what they're saying is the women here are just wrestlers and the men here are just wrestlers, and sometimes women will wrestle women, and sometimes men will wrestle men, and sometimes women will wrestle men, and it doesn't fucking matter. They're wrestling.
And I agree with that.
It's not
I do
perfect,
enjoy intercontinental wrestling,
and it probably never will.
It will probably never.
And the nature of outside of, I guess, with if you put the typical male luchador in the ring with a woman, it makes more sense because they're closer in size and stature. But
with somebody like Brian Cage, with somebody like Mil Muertes,
even a guy like Fenix versus Mil Muertes, the size discrepancy isn't that different.
Also, the mystique. There's a matter of mystique when it comes to a guy like Mil Muertes. His character is a
larger than
ruthless
he
killer.
is.
Yes.
And that goes back to the I understand having him talk, but I understand having Mil Muertes talk, but Ricky Banderas didn't need to be talking. It's just I
agree.
It could have been somebody else, or at least do some do what they did with Drago, the vocoder or whatever they use, the voice manipulation, something.
Well, maybe it's just because Drago is not fully able to replicate a human voice yet, because he's a dragon.
That's true. He's got a lot of tongue to work with. It kind of just goes all over the place. So that's understandable, but I don't know.
Now, PD Rave, as I like to say, feel free to take it Hume.
Yeah. So that is the end of another fantastic discussion. I think. Well, let's get some predictions, quick predictions, before I wrap it up. Just no more than a few sentences. Quick predictions of the season to come. Patrick, real quick, a couple sentences. What do you think is to come with season 2?
I think they're going to continue Pentagon Jr. kind of being the heel of the guy. Where I think we're over Mil Muertes, which is good because I was sick of him. I understand his position, but I was sick of him. I think Fenix is probably still going to try to be the guy, which is, it's that push. I understand. I think they're looking, like I said, I think Puma's going to end up elsewhere as soon as he is legally able to. And Fenix is great. Fenix is worth watching. He's young enough and talented enough that he could be someone who carries a promotion. Mm-hmm. I want to see. I know they're doing another trios tournament, and that excites me. I enjoy trios wrestling as someone whose reintroduction to wrestling was basically Chikara. I appreciate the trios format as opposed to a tag team, even though I like many of those. Yeah. And I want to see them use Joey Ryan.
Yes. Well, I mean, they're
Joey Ryan
Joey
should
Ryan.
be the fabulous mid-card Joey Ryan being ridiculous.
Well, he's going to definitely be, because, he's him and Cortez. Him and Cortez have a job to do, and that's to get Dario Cueto. And by the way, fully going into my Detective Cortez Lucha Division prediction, which vindicates me. Deej, quick predictions for season 2?
I think that Lucha Underground is going to try and do everything they can to take advantage of the fact that they have arguably the most famous luchador ever working for their company. And I see Rey Mysterio challenging for, but maybe not winning, the Lucha Underground Championship. I mean, that's a marquee matchup anywhere on the planet. Rey Mysterio, he's a guy that needs no introduction. So Lucha Underground should use that to its fullest extent.
Mm-hmm. My quick prediction, we're definitely going to see I think there's going to be a big showdown between the 7 Aztec tribes. I think that it's not going on a limb, but I think we're going to definitely see a big marquee moment for that storyline. I think probably soon.
Like what? Like a 7-way battle for some sort of
or at least a cutscene. Something will happen to kind of further solidify who the tribes are. We'll find out who the tribes are and who's their representative. But yeah, let's bring it on home. Patrick, real quick, what do you got going on?
I do a music podcast with this guy named Pedro. It's called Record Breakers. At 4 Record Breakers on Twitter. For recordbreakerspodcast.com. Is that what it is? I think. Yes. We talk about music every week. We review an album. Sometimes people like it. Sometimes everybody hates it. That's usually when I pick the music. But it's a thing I do, and I think it's actually not terrible now. I think we've gotten to that point. So if you like music and are looking for an excuse to listen to new stuff like I was when we started, go check it out. Play the Record Breakers, the home game.
Mm-hmm. Ice Bear would like to be on Record Breakers again.
Yes.
You're always welcome on Record Breakers.
Yes. Deej, what do you got going on in the world? What do you got going on the internet? Delta Juliet Mike Productions.
You guys know all the stuff. You guys know it.
Yeah. DeltaJulietMike.com.
They know it, Petey. No, it's good. They know
it. Pimp your Patreon, DJM, because I'm supporting that shit and more people should.
Yeah.
Well,
check him out on Patreon.
Patreon.com/Delta Juliet Mike. Yes. Go check out what he's making, and if you are like me and appreciate greatly the things that DJM makes, you should throw him $1 or $2, or 50. But like $1 or $2 is nice. It just it helps keep all the things happening.
Yeah.
So I can listen to them.
Yes. So yeah, we're Fanny Pack WP, FannyPackWrestling.com. It's all on Rebelli.net for this and other shows. YouTube.com/RebelliTV as well. I'm Petey Rave. Just call me DJM. Until next time, I'll see you later.
Play the bass. Somebody play that bass. Need that bass like Naked Trainer. Where's the outro? Ice Bear needs the outro to fit that.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
But do they really?